Welcome back, wood lovers. It's your boy Tommy. It's Tommy's Tonewoods. Today we are looking at Chloroxylon swietenia. That's right. Satinwood. Ceylon Satinwood. So satinwood is interesting. There are many woods that are often sold as satinwood. Many woods that have the appearance of this kind of satin-like fabric, but there are only two kind of genuinely accepted satinwoods. One is East Indian Satinwood, which is Chloroxylon swietenia, which is this one, and then there is West Indian Satinwood, which is Zanthoxylum flavum. So we have two different types of satinwood, which are very, very similar. It's almost impossible to tell them apart unless you really start to look at the end grain with like a hand lens or something like this. But then we have lots of kind of imitation satinwoods. So there is African satinwood, usually from Nigeria. I actually have some of that. It's referred to colloquially as Movingui. It was gifted to me by Virgil at Blind Guitars in France. Looks very similar, has a very similar, it's virtually identical colour-wise. The grain is different and the workability is different, but it has a very similar kind of figure to it, but it is a separate thing. So, East Indian Satinwood, Ceylon Satinwood, Chloroxylon flavum, Chloroxylon swietenia, was used a lot in decorative elements on furniture in the kind of Edwardian, Victorian period. I remember using it in furniture for kind of delicate cross-banding on tabletops and cabinet fronts and this kind of thing. It's really interesting wood. It has a really beautiful aroma when it's worked. It's almost like citrusy, coconutty. It's one of those smells that almost like, you know it's Brazilian rosewood when you sand Brazilian rosewood. You know it's satinwood when you sand satinwood. It's a really distinctive smell that you just know like straight away. It can be quite irritating to the skin to work with. The dust can be quite an allergen. It's also quite difficult to work. It wants to tear out quite a lot as a function of just how wild the grain is. So quite often, it prefers to be worked kind of across the grain, which is kind of handy if you're doing cross-banded work on tabletops and things. So I first came across this when I was working as a cabinet maker. My first apprenticeship project involved loads and loads of satinwood. So I became very accustomed to this wood and its kind of finicky ways quite early on in my career. It dulls tools quite quickly. I think there must be a high silica content. This is a back from a guitar that I'm going to be working on. It's almost like there's glitter. It looks like there's glitter in the grain, which suggests to me that there's a high kind of silica content in there. Something similar to like what you would get in teak. So it really blunts the tools quite quickly. I'll show you this again in a minute. So this set was given to me by my dear friend Stuart Ketchin, and when I was looking through the wood stash today, this set jumped out at me, and yeah, very happy to be reminded of Stuart and his generosity in giving me this beautiful set. And yeah, here you go. It's kind of almost like desert sands, you know, like dunes. We've just got this kind of like ripply. It's just beautiful. Really highly, would you say chatoyant? It really kind of, it's almost three-dimensional. It's very, very cool. And sounds amazeballs. Let's give it a listen. Very rosewoody. Great sustain. Loads going on there. Love it. Love it, love it. I will give this a little magic spray. I believe it's used a lot in classical guitars, so I'm told. Wow. But I'm going to be using it for some steel strings. Yeah, that is just so cool. So glossy. I'll show you this at the back that I started working on, which is possibly even nicer. This has got a real kind of bee's wing, what I would call bee's wing figure to it. And it almost, the grain almost glistens like fresh snow. You know, when light bounces off fresh snow, you get the kind of glittering in the snow crystals, and the ice crystals. Amazing. This is going to be really, really lovely. Oh man, that is some seriously, seriously nice figure. Quite dense, 0.98 specific gravity, and I think we're looking at about 2,700 on the Janka scale, so similar to the Grenadillo that we were looking at yesterday. Beautiful stuff. I don't know if I've got anything else to tell you about Satinwood. So there we have it, Satinwood, a beautiful timber, great sounding tonewood. It's going to cause me a headache when I come to work with it, but as we always say, the best woods always make you work for it. So, till tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow.